that would happen. Let's watch some videos. Start of a new little cleanup, spring cleanup. Fresh in the spring, got snow on the ground. This is going to the ground. These Nandinas over here are going to the ground. And then this large holly's going down. Basically everything on this fence except this crepe myrtle. You mess with hollies and they got all these sharp points. Not looking forward to it. These projects are real good during the winter. I don't mind them in the spring. They weren't bad with an employee, but when you're doing it by yourself, they do wipe you out. In the very beginning of the business, I got a lot of these, and I way underbid almost every one of them. That kind of is what it is. You go out there and you get as much work as you can, and you don't know anything about business or pricing or what goes into your pricing. It's kind of rough. Let's see how it goes. We'll just take some video, alright? We'll get into this. You gotta love when the chain falls off. So I'm gonna go ahead and do some explaining on a few tips and tricks, things that I'm doing throughout the video, and that way you can have a better understanding of a few things that just might make it a little more efficient for you, or if you had a crew. Right there my camera died on me, so bummer. It's lessons learned. I'm kind of new to the YouTube thing, so we'll get it going. So this job start to finish took right around 4 hours. It was spread out over 2 days though. So this holly bush, these leaves are sharp, but you notice I kind of cut a little notchway in there, and then I got into it. By doing that, I could get up underneath all the foliage, the canopy, and then kind of safely trim it so that it's not falling on me. Dealing with some vines there, that's kind of a mess. That's a hassle. So when you're doing bids, if you see vines, just figuring that it's going to take you some extra time. Alright, this is the cool part. Alright, so you'll notice with my setup I got the big doors, man. So I got the flatbed, I can fit a lot of stuff on there, but I've got the doors and they open up to the side, and the reason being is my setup is designed around this type of work, doing the cleanups. And while I don't really enjoy doing it that much anymore, for a long time this was my bread and butter. This is what I did all the time. So it just makes sense that my setup would evolve into something that it's become, you know. So I've got the 4-foot high expanded walls on the trailer, and that's the same concept. I need the high walls, and I need to be able to fit as much debris as I can in there to do these type of this type of cleanup. So the truck, that's my war horse. All right, so the truck is a 1985 C30. So it's a 1-ton truck. It's got dually gas tanks, although one of them's out. It's got a brand new one on this side, you see, and that's because a couple of years ago it started leaking on me throughout the season. It started leaking on me probably halfway through the season. It's kind of scary to be driving around thinking, man, if something sparks, it's gonna blow up. So there's been times where I was real broke and I wasn't able to fix things that probably put my life in danger. So you don't want to underbid stuff. This type of work's hard, it's rough, and it's physically exhausting. But if you have the right setup, if you have the right tools, and you are willing to do it, you can make good money doing this type of work. this is what I was talking about earlier, where I cut that notch underneath the holly there. And that's so I can get in and get up underneath everything. But you'll see me do that on the next day. So, pull forward. I'll pull forward. Leave that gate down while I do. Make some noise with it. So you'll notice what I'm doing here is I'm actually taking the time and I'm flipping it so that all of the limbs are pointing one way. And I want them pointing so that the base of it is towards the back of the trailer. And the reason being is if I don't and it's all over the place, say I stack them sideways or this and that, and I don't take the time, that little bit of extra time while I'm loading it, it'll take forever unloading it. Everything will catch and hang on each other, and then on top of that, I'm messing with hollies, and hollies have the sharp leaves, so that's really just a pain. Hey, it's Kevin. I just want to let you know I'm heading out of your property. I'm going to head to the dump. I'm loaded down to full capacity, so I'll be here tomorrow morning. I'll get everything polished up and finished up tomorrow. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Now, the reason I left that phone call in there is I wanted to stress the importance of communicating with your clients. And watch this right here. This is why you put it all in the right way. Alright. But anyways, I wanted you to understand, if you're new in business, one of the best things you can do is just clearly communicate with your client. If they know what you're doing, when you're doing it, how you're doing it, there's no stress involved, and you're not going to get a bad review. It just leaves better experience with your service. So this clip is sped up, but I believe my dump from start to finish took me about 10 minutes. I've got some leaves in there from a few weeks ago. Just gonna leave that leaf debris in there. I'm gonna be back tomorrow anyways. I'll get it out then. So by having those doors on the side like that, I can open it up. I never have to take off my trailer. A little bit of trash goes in the dumpster, baby. Pump that up. Pump it up! She spits and sputters in the morning. It's all good. I got my morning brainwashing going on.
On assault. The one item you must wear, no matter what the season, is your purpose. It's
This is trip number 2 on this project. Today, I am listening to Elena Cardone's new book. And you might ask yourself why I'm listening to a book directed towards women. I'm wanting my wife to do better, and I'm wanting to inspire her and encourage her and motivate her, because I've been on a kick of getting into books, and I know how valuable it is for me, how much it has improved my point of view and motivation and positivity towards things. I've always been kind of a positive guy, but I can fall into little spits of depression. Reading these books, listening to Audible, getting soaked into the right YouTube channels where I'm soaking in what I need to fuel me personally has helped me out a lot. So what I'm trying to do is open my wife's eyes to that. I can see where she's at because I was there, She's there and her interest is piqued, and I can see that, but I want to help encourage the positive growth that I see in her. Like, it all starts with me, and then it starts with my direct environment. I'm married. You listen to Cardone, he talks about getting new friends. Dude, my wife is my best friend. I can't get rid of my wife. I don't want to get rid of my wife. I made that decision, and to me that's a life decision. So what do? I help encourage the positive growth in her life. You want to do the same for yourself and your wife, but you can't do it in a way that's like, here's what you do bad. That stuff doesn't work, man. Be cool, start with yourself, and then be so damn contagious that they have no choice but to go in the direction of their true potential that you know they have. You ever see this in backyards? Whistle. That's just scary stuff, man. All this is cut, and now I just have to get it out of here. And then this big one here, and that little tree beside it. That's a lot of bushes. A lot. So I'm gonna start off, because I can't refrain from doing it. It kind of looks like a fort to me. If I was a young kid, I'd have been playing in there all the time. So it's probably best that mom and dad are cutting it down, because there's poison ivy in the back of this, and that would have been a bummer for the kid. Anyways, you'll notice that on the first day when I was at this project, there were some nandina bushes in that corner, and I cut them down, which was really nice because it gave me like a doorway in, so I wouldn't have to push my way through the holly foliage, which is real sharp. It's got all the points, and it would have just stabbed me up. Because like I said, once you're underneath it, it's not bad. Now the other thing is I'm cutting it and I'm pulling it out as I cut it, and that way I can free up space, I can move around safely with the saw. The last thing you want to do is trip on one of those. So you know, if you trip and you land on that saw, it's not going to be a good day. So you got to be pretty careful, be aware of where you're stepping. And with a project like this, you end up with so much debris that it's hard not to step on stuff. So I'm turning everything around, getting it pointed the right way. I'll put several branches together, and then I'll drag them together at the same time. And that way I take less trips. So that's a little more strenuous on your body. It'll wear out your legs, but it'll keep you from making 40 trips. Of course, on this one I probably did more than that. Ooh, big one, big one. Now it's starting to take shape. It always looks like chaos in the middle of the job. Look at that craziness. What? Alright, here we go. Get that box back in action. I got everything lined up and ready to go. This is a method I've been using for several years. You know, if you've been in the lawn industry, I'm sure you've done it. But if you're new, it's a helpful thing to do. So you lay out a tarp so you don't have to make a million trips. You just put it on the tarp for all the little stuff. Sorry, dude. Bummer. Sometimes that happens, man. So you put it on the tarp and you don't have to make that million trips. It just makes your life a lot easier. The less trips you make, the less stress you put on your body. The less stress you put on your body, the longer you can work, the more money you can make. Keep that in mind. It goes the same with equipment. So you can really appreciate it here how much the tarp helps, because you can tell how many trips I would have made otherwise. It goes in, and I leave the stuff on the tarp so that when I'm dumping, I can just drag the tarp out. It slides right off my setup, and I don't have to do any cleanup and rake everything out of there. Now if you look on the back of the truck right here on the box, you'll see that's a DIY leaf loader. So I'll do a video on that for everybody that's new in business. I'm at the point where I could probably end up replacing that with as much work as I'm doing, but the price was right and it does what I need it to do. So really it comes down to a little bit of an ego thing where, you know, sometimes you want your equipment to look real nice, and then you have to realize people don't really care as long as it looks clean. So you want to look clean. It doesn't have to look brand new. And the thing is, like, you can keep yourself out of debt. I could go spend $2,500 on a leaf loader like that, or I could keep what I have because it works good. Now, if it boosted my efficiency, that's when you get into a different argument. But when it's just something that I want to get because of looks, that's not good for business, okay? Like my blowers, you see my backpack blower? I didn't buy it brand new. I bought it at a pawn shop. That's a good way to buy equipment. It's not a great way. I mean, sometimes you're in a different scenario than I am, but I tend to find good deals at pawn shops. Now, I will say I have my eye on the new Echo. Luke Smith, shout out to him. He's my buddy in the area. He let me use his Echo this year. We did a leaf cleanup together. And after having that thing, I don't know, I can go back to the 770 next year. So I may have to just bite the bullet and go buy a new one. Okay, so if you're not too familiar with chainsaws, never let your chain hit the ground. It'll dull it up incredibly fast, and just bad news, man, bad news. Now right here, with this stump that's up against the fence, I'm being very careful with that. That's poison ivy on the fence, and I don't want to have a bad day. So I'll take care of that later. I kind of discuss how I do it, but this right here, just be careful around it. If you identify it, you won't have the issues. Come in, clean it all up. So I had to blow everything out first, alright? When I blew it out, then I can actually see what's left, and then I can get the stumps down to the size I need, and kind of go from there. But all the little stuff cleans up at that point pretty easy. That's the best method I've found. Sometimes you just got to take little bites at it. You'll notice I got several tarps. I got a clean up setup, man. What do you guys think? I think it's starting to look a little full. I was probably getting nervous at this point. Man, I hope I don't have to make a third trip for all the little stuff. That would be a bummer. So I cut it out of here. I think I cut it out. It'll probably be right here in a second. No, I did. It was in the first day. So on the first day of the project, the neighbor came out, and it seems to happen like this every time you do a project like this, a neighbor comes out and they want to authorize you to do more work for the neighbor that's paying you. And you just kind of got to go, yeah. Yeah, well, we're going to do a really good job. It's going to look good when we're done, you know. And you just be kind and respectful, obviously. Give everybody a smile. Kill everybody with kindness. That's kind of something I had to learn in life. I used to be real bitter and walk around and that stuff doesn't help, man. But the same thing, I mean, when you're in business, you really got to shine out in business as being a cool dude. Much better. Mandinas are gone. Massive holly's gone. Even bigger one in the corner's gone. Only thing left is these vines right here. That's poison ivy. Put it at the bottom, but I'm gonna spray it off when it goes green. That was a massive job, all right? It took, that would be the payment for it. So it was 2 trips to the dump, decent amount of cutting, haul off. You saw what was going on. Now here's the thing to remember: when you go to the dump and you're taking this stuff there, if you have a place like mine where it's a municipal dump where we can dump green waste, it's fairly inexpensive, but you have a lot of time consumed in driving to there and then dumping the material, driving back to the job site or driving to another job site, and that has to be figured into your dump cost. So don't cut yourself short on the dump fees. I've done that a lot of times and it really sucks. You know, you look at the job and you're like, well, this job is this much, and then you don't think about everything that's involved with the job off-site. Okay, going to the dump, if it's landscaping, picking up material, all that stuff really eats up your time, and then it can cost a lot of money. So you need to figure that into your cost. So my load, because I know somebody's going to ask, how much does it cost to go to the dump? Where do I dump? This is the green waste facility here, and it cost me $3.30 for my truck and trailer. Like, you saw it when I loaded it, but come on, man. I'm going to show you what it looks like now. I'm going to set up the camera and I'm going to yank it out, and I'm going to show you how quick it is, because it only takes a second, man. Like, if you load your setup right, you'll notice in the video I took the time to make sure I loaded it right so that it all comes out fast. That way dumping doesn't take that long. It sucks when you got to pull everything out of the trailer and you just threw it in this way, that way, whatever. It's hard to get it out, and it takes too much time. So if you point everything towards the back, you can grab onto several pieces, yank it all out at once. Now I've got some stuff back there in tarps. When I tarp stuff up and it's all small debris, same thing, I'll keep it on the tarps. And I can just grab it on the tarp and yank it out. It's out. That's it, man. Who needs a dump trailer? Look at that monster. And work. Hey, if you made it this far, show some love. Hit that subscribe button. Let's go, baby! Hey, if you made it this far, show some love. Hit that subscribe button. Let's go, baby!